Welcome to the Explainer. When we think about a healthy pregnancy, our minds usually jump straight to those 9 months. But what if the most important work actually happens before you even conceive? That's what we're diving into today, building a super clear, actionable checklist based on the latest science so you know exactly what to do.
All right, so we've got 5 main areas to cover. We'll talk about that critical pre-pregnancy window, your health checkup, priming your body, why your partner's role is so vital, and finally, creating a healthy environment. It's a whole picture approach, making sure we cover all the bases.
Okay, first things first. Let's really get our heads around the most critical time for all this preparation. And spoiler alert, it's not actually during pregnancy, but months before. So why? Why does this early planning make such a huge, profound difference?
Well, experts have a name for it, the periconceptional window. It sounds technical, but it's pretty simple. It's not about the exact moment of conception. Instead, it's all about that crucial 3 to 6 month period leading up to it. This is when the health of both the egg and the sperm is really set in stone, laying the entire biological foundation for a healthy pregnancy before it's even started. It's a game changer.
And this quote right here just nails it. It shows how much the thinking on this has changed. The focus isn't just on prenatal care after you get a positive test anymore. No, the whole game has shifted to preparing your body and your environment beforehand. And that's now seen as probably the single best thing we can do for the health of the next generation.
Okay, so now that we know why this period is so important, what's the first practical step? Where do you actually start? Well, it begins with a visit to your healthcare provider for a preconception checkup.
You can think of this appointment as a full-on health audit. It's your chance to go over everything with your doctor, any chronic conditions you might have, all the medications and supplements you're taking, even your family's genetic history. And updating your vaccinations is absolutely crucial. Things like the MMR vaccine, for example, that's a live vaccine, so you can't get it during pregnancy. You have to get it sorted out beforehand.
And here's a perfect example of why this checkup is so important. Managing something like pre-existing diabetes. If your blood sugar isn't under control in those first few weeks of pregnancy, and we're talking about a time when you might not even know you've conceived yet, it can have really serious consequences for the baby's development.
So what does under control even mean? Well, there's a specific target. Doctors look at something called your A1C, which is basically a snapshot of your average blood sugar over a few months. The goal is to get that number below 6.5% before you even start trying. Hitting that one target can dramatically reduce the risk of certain birth defects. It's pretty much a non-negotiable for a healthy start.
All right, moving on from the doctor's office. Your daily habits, the things you do day in and day out, play a massive role too. So this next part is all about how you can actively prime your body with the right nutrition and lifestyle changes. So let's talk about what to add to your routine. I like to think of it as nutritional priming. You're just building up your body's reserves. Now the superstar here is folic acid. You want to take 400 to 800 micrograms every day for at least a month before you even start trying. That's been shown to be essential for preventing major birth defects of the brain and spine. And of course, you combine that with a good balanced diet, getting about 150 minutes of moderate exercise a week, and really trying to get a solid 8 hours of sleep a night. Now for the other side of the coin, what to avoid. This is just as important. We're talking about stopping all smoking, alcohol, and recreational drug use. That's a given. But you'll also want to watch your caffeine intake. The recommendation is to keep it under 200 milligrams a day, which is roughly 1 12-ounce cup of coffee. Oh, and you'll want to steer clear of things like hot tubs because they can raise your core body temperature to levels that aren't safe.
Okay, let's shift gears to something that is so critical but honestly often gets overlooked. Preconception health is not a solo mission. It's a team sport. Your partner's health is just as important on this journey.
So, is this all just for women? The research gives us a loud and clear answer. Absolutely not. We now know that male health factors play a role in fertility issues at least half the time. And guess what? It takes about 3 months to produce a whole new batch of sperm, so that preconceptional window we talked about, yep, it applies to partners too. And you can see here, a man's overall health and lifestyle have a direct impact on his sperm. We're talking quality, quantity, the whole deal. Things like obesity, smoking, heavy drinking, even high stress, they can all mess with sperm production. And this doesn't just affect the chances of conceiving, it can influence the health of the baby down the line. So what can partners do to get ready? Well, the March of Dimes lays out these 5 really clear, actionable steps. And you'll probably notice they look pretty familiar, right? Maintain a healthy weight, cut down on exposure to toxins, stop smoking and limit alcohol, and manage stress. It really is a shared responsibility. Okay, for our final section, let's zoom out a little bit. Because it's not just about what's going on inside your bodies. It's also about the environment you and your partner are living in every single day.
I mean, look at this number. It's kind of startling, right? An estimated 43 chemicals that women are exposed to during pregnancy. But here's the key thing to remember. A lot of this exposure doesn't just start during pregnancy, it begins way before conception, and it can impact both male and female fertility by messing with the body's delicate hormone systems.
The culprits are often these things called endocrine-disrupting chemicals, or EDCs for short. And they do exactly what their name suggests. They disrupt your endocrine system, your hormones. The tricky part is they're found in so many everyday things: plastics, nonstick pans, pesticides, even in some of our personal care products. But here's the good news. You don't have to go live in a bubble to avoid all this stuff. You can actually lower your exposure in a big way with just a few simple swaps in your daily routine. Choosing glass containers instead of plastic for your food, using a cast iron pan instead of a non-stick one, maybe choosing organic for certain fruits and veggies. These little changes really do add up and can make a huge difference.
So, after all this, what's the one thing you should walk away with? What's the single most important takeaway? It's this: preparing for pregnancy is a proactive, team-based effort. It starts months before you even start trying. By taking charge of your health, paying attention to your environment, and, most importantly, doing it together, you're doing so much more than just increasing your chances of conceiving. You are fundamentally shaping the long-term health of your future child. You're giving your family the absolute best start you possibly can.